Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and it's May the 19th, and we're ready for Lesson 139 in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students. I will accept atonement for myself. I will accept atonement for myself. So how'd you do with your hourly reviews yesterday? Did you every hour, did you say to yourself, heaven is the decision I must make? I will accept it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. Probably should have that fairly well memorized, and after you've been saying it, I missed a few hours, but I do the best I can. And when I realize I missed it, I say it again. But heaven is the decision I must make. I will make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. All right, heaven is the decision I must make. Let's just talk a moment about it before we go read our next lesson. In this world, heaven is a choice because here we believe there are alternatives to choose between. So that's a key concept that he's wanting us to recognize, that in this world we think we can make choices. But he said really that there is, and how would you say it? Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Let's see. Now let's back up. In that second paragraph, he says that, let's see. What is true in God's creation cannot enter here unless it is reflected in some form the world can understand. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear. For this would be the error that truth could be brought to illusions. Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and an expenditure of time. Without decision, time is but a waste and effort dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There's no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished, nothing learned. So choice has a value here, though, doesn't it? You need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you when there is really only one to make. What is that one decision? We need to be reminded. We think there's 1,000 choices confronting us, but there's only one to make. Look what it even says. And even this but seems to be a choice. But, do not confuse yourself with all the doubts that myriad decisions would induce. You make but one. And when that one is made, you will perceive it was no choice at all. For truth is true and nothing else is real. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to the truth. Choosing depends on learning. But the truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. In recognition, its acceptance lies, and as it is accepted, it is known. But knowledge is beyond the goal we seek to teach within the framework of this course. Ours are teaching goals to be attained through learning how to reach them. And they are, what they are and what they offer you. Decisions are the obvious outcome of learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as the truth of what you are and what your needs must be. Okay, so decisions are the outcome of your learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as the truth of what you are and what your needs must be. So every choice you make is really a decision of who you are. Well, keep that in mind, because that's really, you need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you when there is really only one to make. Who are you? What is that one decision? Heaven is the decision I must make. That's the only decision, and every decision that ever really needs to be made. Choice between truth and illusion. Maybe it's the easier way to think about it is between peace and unrest, between joy and sadness, between innocence and guilt. It's all the same. That's heaven. So heaven is the choice we want to make. The choice between loving everyone or being repulsed by some. It's always that decision. Heaven. Do you want to make it here and now? If you've said it all day long, maybe it's becoming more clear to you. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. Okay, let's see. In this insanely complicated world, heaven appears to take the form of choice rather than merely being what it is. Of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, and prototype of all the rest. The one which settles all decisions. If you could decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions but conceal this one by taking different forms. Wow, listen to that. All decisions but conceal this decision. Heaven is the decision I must make. They conceal that decision, all your other decisions, because they're taking different forms, and you get caught up in the forms. Underneath it all is always, am I going to be happy or sad? Am I going to be peaceful or unhappy, anxious, loss of peace? Truth or illusion? Love or fear? So we begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Such is its holy purpose, time's holy purpose, now transformed from the intent you gave it, that it be a means for demonstrating hell is real. Hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death. In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die. And thus salvation must be seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. To resolve the conflict is to end your life as well. And then what's he call all those ideas? These mad beliefs. These mad beliefs can gain unconscious. That's the power of hell, of guilt. It's unconscious. You know, you've got all these ideas going, but they're not founded on any substance. And this is what we want to pull the curtain back and see now, okay? These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip the mind with terror and anxiety so strong that it will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. It must be saved from salvation, threatened to be safe, and magically armored against truth. And these decisions are made unaware, to keep them safely undisturbed, apart from question and from reason and from doubt. But look what that next sentence says. Heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. And all mistakes in judgment, which the mind had made before, are open to correction, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. Now are they without effects. They cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized. The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as the ending of the fear of hell when it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to light. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable? Okay? When we start, this is why I keep saying why it's so important to have that quiet time throughout the day. To let all, my teacher, Charlie, used to, he said, take a glass jar, fill it with water and put some dirt in it, shake it up, and set it down. He said, you won't be able to see in it. It'll be all murky. He said, but as you let it sit there for a while, all the particulars and solids settle to the bottom and the water becomes clear. Well, he said, this is what we're doing when we sit still and we're quiet. We're letting the fog settle. We're letting the dirt settle so that we can see again. Right? Well, this is heaven is a conscious choice of heaven. We make the choice for heaven as we wake and spend 5 minutes making sure that we have made the one decision that is sane. Okay, so we're trying to get to the place where we're calm enough and aware enough that we can make a really worthwhile decision, which is really just aligning with who we already are. But it'll become meaningful as we make this decision. We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence and what has nothing but an appearance of the truth. Its pseudo-being brought to what is real is flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now, for what was made enormous, vengeful, pitiless with hate, demands obscurity for fear to be invested there. If you saw all that it was doing, you wouldn't give it any value. But you're pushed along by unconscious beliefs that have held great intensity. Now it is recognized as but a foolish, trivial mistake. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, because it is the only thing I want. Okay, let's go to read our next lesson. I will accept atonement for myself. Before we do, look what I've got here. It's clearly warm weather. You wouldn't plant these unless all danger of frost was over. And these are a nightshade, same family as the tomato, and it is an eggplant. This particular variety is a Hansel eggplant. It's an F1 hybrid, which, I'm not real thrilled about that, but it's what the seed store had available, and I wanted to get some eggplant in the ground. An F1 hybrid, you can't really keep the seed and plant it again the next year, because you could keep the seed and it will produce an eggplant, but it may not be the nice big eggplant that a Hansel is. But, you can turn an F1 hybrid into a good strain of seed. My teacher, Charlie again, who taught me a lot about plants also, he said you can take any of these seeds, and he said just keep planting them, and always each year pick the ones that you like the best. He said eventually you won't have a Hansel eggplant anymore. Not that he was talking about Hansel eggplants, but in general, you won't have an F1 hybrid, but you will have a seed that does nice on your land and grows nice eggplant. But it might take several generations before you find those seeds that you've then grown and then picked the best of those and grown them again. Several years later, you'll finally get an eggplant and go, hey, these are pretty good. Anyway, that's... and there's other things that can be done with plants, but that's one. Okay, lesson 139. I will accept atonement for myself. Here is the end of choice, for here we come to a decision to accept ourselves as God created us. And what is choice except uncertainty of what we are? There is no doubt that is not rooted here. Ooh, that's a big statement. There is no question but reflects this one. There is no conflict that does not entail the single simple question, who am I? There is no conflict that does not entail the single simple question, what am I? That kind of reverberates yesterday's idea that every choice we make is a decision. Heaven is the decision I must make. And every choice you make is a declaration of who you are. It's a statement of who you are. If you fight to protect yourself, then you believe you're vulnerable. There's a good example, okay? So we want to, I am as God created me. His son can suffer nothing, and I am his son or his daughter. This is the ideas we want to know who we are, and let that begin to bubble up and be our identity, because that's the truth. Paragraph 2. Yet who could ask this question except one who has refused to recognize himself? Only refusal to accept yourself could make the question seem to be sincere. The only thing that can be surely known by any living thing is what it is. Isn't that true? The only thing that can be surely known by any living thing is what it is. From this one point of certainty, it looks on other things as certain as itself. Uncertainty about what you must be is self-deception. And how big of a self-deception? It is self-deception on a scale so vast, its magnitude can hardly be conceived. Paragraph 3. To be alive and not to know yourself is to believe that you're really dead. For what is life except to be yourself? And what but you can be alive instead? Who is the doubter? What is it he doubts? Whom does he question? Who can answer him? He merely states that he is not himself, and therefore, being something else, becomes a questioner of what that something is. And we think we're doing such a great thing to be on a path of self-realization. We're basically saying that we're in a self-deceived state that's on a scale so vast its magnitude can hardly be conceived. Paragraph 4. Well, we might as well be happy about it. We're on this journey, though. We are waking up. Don't you feel it? Paragraph 4. Yet he could never be alive at all unless he knew the answer. If he asks as if he did not know, it merely shows he does not want to be the thing he is. He has accepted it because he lives, has judged against it and denied its worth, and has decided that he does not know the only certainty by which he lives. Thus he becomes uncertain of his life, for what it is has been denied by him. 5. It is for this denial that you need atonement. Okay, I'm using the word atonement. You could say at-one-ment. It's spelled the same way, could be pronounced the same way. I expect the English word is probably atonement, but I oftentimes use the word at-one-ment because I think it's so dead-on specific that that when we have reached atonement, or when we accept atonement for ourselves, we're accepting our universal oneness with all that there is in truth. You know, at one with God, with our brothers, and with ourselves. Okay, let's see. Where were we at here? It is for this denial that you need atonement. Your denial made no change in what you are, but you have split your mind into what knows and does not know the truth. You are yourself. There is no doubt of this, and yet you doubt it. I like that. You are yourself. There is no doubt of this, but you doubt it. We're on this path of self-realization, and as such, we're doubting ourselves because we really know who we are. That's why it's the journey without distance. The carpet will roll up, and we get to the end, and it won't even be a road because we've always been where we are. You know, like I said a day or two ago, we're seated in heavenly places with Christ. That's our reality. Okay, but you do not ask what part of you can really doubt yourself. It cannot really be a part of you that asks this question, for it asks of one who knows the answer. Were it part of you, uncertainty would be impossible. 6. Atonement remedies the strange idea that it is possible to doubt yourself and be unsure of what you really are. This is the depth of madness. Atonement or at-one-ment remedies the strange idea that it is possible to doubt yourself and be unsure of what you really are. This is the depth of madness, yet it is the universal question of the world. What does this prove except the world is mad? Why share its madness in the sad belief that what is universal here is true? Nothing the world believes is true. It is a place whose purpose is to be a home where those who claim they do not know themselves can come to question what it is they are. Okay. 7, and they will come again. And they will come again and again. And they will come again until the time atonement is accepted. And they learn it is impossible to doubt yourself and not to be aware of what you are. Only acceptance can be asked of you, for what you are is certain. It is set forever in the holy mind of God and in your own. It is so far beyond all doubt and question that to ask what it must be is all the proof you need to show that you believe the contradiction, that you know not what you cannot fail to know. That's some reasoning that takes a little time. That's why we need these quiet times, You might even read through it. And when you reach a thought like that, stop for a minute and pause. Don't just try to read through it and barrel along. Stop and let it settle in. Let its wisdom teach you. Let's read it again, matter of fact. It is so far, it is set forever in the holy mind of God and in your own. It is so far beyond all doubt and question that to ask what it must be is all the proof you need to show that you believe the contradiction, that you know not what you cannot fail to know. 8. Is this a question or a statement which denies itself in statement? Let us not allow our holy minds to occupy themselves with senseless musings such as this. We have a mission here. We did not come to reinforce the madness which we once believed. Let us not forget the goal that we accepted. It is more than just our happiness alone we came to gain. What we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone must be along with us. I will accept atonement for myself. Number 9, fail not your brothers, or you fail yourself. Okay, so we don't want to stay hooked onto this senseless musing of who we are. We want to, how does he say it? This universal question that denies itself in statement. Let us not allow our holy minds to occupy themselves with these senseless musings. We have a mission here. What's our mission? Because we didn't come here to reinforce the madness that we once believed. Let us not forget the goal that we accepted. It is more than just our happiness alone we came to gain. Okay, more than just our happiness. What we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone must be along with us. We're coming here to help everyone, not just ourselves to be happy. Fail not your brothers as you fail yourself. Look lovingly on them, and that they may know. Look lovingly on them, that they may know that they are part of you and you of them. This does atonement teach, and demonstrates the oneness of God's Son is unassailed by his belief he knows not what he is. Let me read that again and use the word at-one-ment. This does at-one-ment teach, and demonstrates the oneness of God's Son is unassailed by his belief he knows not what he is. Today accept at-one-ment. Today accept atonement. Not to change reality, but merely to accept the truth about yourself and go your way rejoicing in the endless love of God. It is but this that we ask to do. It is but this that we will do today. To go forth rejoicing in the endless love of God as we help ourselves and our brothers all remember who we are. 5 minutes in the morning and at night we will devote to dedicate our minds to our assignment for today. We start with this review of what our mission is. I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. Okay, we're going to take 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, and then throughout the day we're going to take just a moment to say that. I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. We have not lost the knowledge that God gave to us when he created us like him. We have not lost the knowledge that God gave to us when he created us like him. We can remember it for everyone. For in creation are all minds as one, and in our memory is the recall how dear our brothers are to us in truth, how much a part of us is every mind, how faithful they have really been to us, and how our Father's love contains us all. Wow. In thanks for all creation in the name of its Creator and his oneness with all aspects of creation, we repeat our dedication to our cause today each hour as we lay aside all thoughts that would distract us from our holy aim. For several minutes, let your mind be cleared of all the foolish cobwebs which the world would weave around the Holy Son of God, and learn the fragile nature of the chains that seem to keep the knowledge of yourself apart from your awareness, as you say, I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. So remember, for several minutes, let your mind be cleared of all the foolish cobwebs. Let's read that last paragraph one last time. In thanks for all creation in the name of its Creator and his oneness with all aspects of creation, we repeat our dedication to our cause today, each hour, as we lay aside all thoughts that would distract us from our holy aim. Okay, so he's saying take several minutes. And he says, for several minutes, let your mind be cleared of all the foolish cobwebs. Let the particulars settle in the water of your mind so that you can see clearly. He's using here, for several minutes, let your mind be cleared of all the foolish cobwebs which the world would weave around the Holy Son of God. And learn the fragile nature of the chains that seem to keep the knowledge of yourself apart from your awareness. As you say, I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. I will accept atonement for myself.